Okay, so in the last class we have I have just introduced about Java methods. Now we know what is a Java method, right? So the purpose of a method is to do the code reusability and code organization, and this is the typical syntax of Java method. And you have the in the method there are some parts, which is one of the parts are access modifier, return type is there, name of the method is there, and something like the parameters is there, and a method body, right? So where you would declare a Java method, a Java method would be declared in a Java class. Inside the Java class you can declare Java method, right? And we know what is a private method. So I think you have done the assignments. So this is the local access, right? When you declare a method as private, only that you can call that private method within the class. Outside the class, it is a restriction. You cannot call it because it is not visible. So it is localized. Right? And public method, it is like a kind of global access. We can able to call the method from one class to another class. So how do we name a Java method? We use a naming convention, which is camel case naming convention, right? So we know what is a camel case naming convention. The first letter or the first word should be in lowercase. The first letter of the consecutive word should be in uppercase. That is so this is the example. Calculate total, get student name. And main method is a very important method. The execution always starts from a main method. And if you want to call a different method or user defined method, object creation is mandatory, isn't it? Without the object creation, we cannot call the user defined method. Right? So this is the syntax for object creation. And okay, so to create, why do we create an object? To call the user defined methods, and to call the fields also. We will discuss about the fields today. Without creating an object, we cannot use methods or variable defined inside the class, right? So this is the quick recap. And today the class 5, and today I'm going to introduce about the data types in Java, right? So by theory it says a data type defines the type of a data a variable can hold. Okay, let me put this in the plain screen. A data type defines the type of a data a variable can hold. Let us understand what kind of data we would come across in the Java programming language or in the real world entities, right? In the real world entities, we usually come across so much of data, right? For example, something like 79. Let us assume that the 79 is representing the age of the person, right? And something like let us say 365. 365 is representing the number of days in a year, right? So let me assume something like a pin code. Pin code is a kind of what? A kind of, it is representing the coordinates, a particular location, And let us say something like something like a true or false, true, a statement or a message, or a question, right? Or a kind of open-ended question which gives you only two answers. Either it can be true or false. This is considered as a data in the programming language. Let us say something like a particular letter with single quotes. A. So something would be like the price of the petrol, 100 point. In Chennai, the today's price is something around 100 point some change, right? So let us say something, the uh, particular location with high precision coordinates. You can say that the 26 degree dot like 98765, the high precision range, which has a huge amount of decimal values. After the decimal point, it has some values with high precision. Okay, some kind of scientific calculation. When you do scientific calculation, the result will be calculated. The result will be will be considered with high precision. you will be having a lot of decimal values, right? And let us say something like a very big number, a very big number in the sense I want to do something like I want to the cash the you Ambani, right? Ambani is a richest person in India, would be having around some huge amount of money. We cannot calculate, we have to calculate that in a number which is going to be very huge, right? Let's say that let us assume that you have something like 1,000 crores, 1,000 crores, a very big number. So this is the data, these are the data that we come across. I'm just assuming these are the different kinds of data that we come across, right? So each and everything is considered as a value. So this is one value, this is one value, this is one value, 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 and a value. Okay, these values needs to be stored in Java. Whatever the data that you want to store, you want to store that in a variable. So what did I just say? You want to store that in what? You want to store that in a variable. Now the question is, what is a variable? What is a variable? If you want to store a value, if you want to assign a value to any name, you want to assign a value, when a value gets assigned to any name. For example, if we want to assign this, we want to assign this is a value, we want to assign this to a meaningful name. Meaningful name, when I say meaningful name, let us say that this is representing the person's age. Okay, so this is called as what? This is called as variable. Okay. Now we have understood two things. We have come across two terminologies. One is the value, this is the value, and second one is what? This the variable. Variable is a name, a meaningful name, right? But if you want to represent these two things, these two entities in Java, Java would be expecting one more thing, which is called as what? Which is called as a data type. Data type. Are we good so far? What I'm trying to say? Are we good? Type S in the chat box, everyone. Are able to follow what I'm trying to represent? Everyone say yes or no, whatever it is. Right? Okay then. So Java says you can store any value, guys. Java is just saying to you, okay? Java is speaking to you. Just imagine that Java is speaking to you. Hey guys, you can store any value, but please ensure that you are assigning a variable. You are giving a name as well as you are giving a data type. Right? The question is, what is a data type? Question is, what is a data type? So that's what a data type defines a type of data a variable can hold. Okay, we need to understand the value. We need to understand what type of data is this. Okay, I can say, so this is what type? A numerical type, or it is what? It is a whole number type. This is a numeric type. And again, this is also a numeric type, whole number type. This is also a numeric type. If you observe these four data types, they are very common in nature. They are what? They are representing the whole numbers. Yes or no? Aren't they representing the whole numbers? They do not have fractional part. They are just whole numbers. What are the numbers? You have something like 79, right? You have something like 365. You have something like a pin code 6000099. You have something like 100 crores, right? 1,000 crores. Okay. Every value is representing something in common. What is that common? Everything is a whole number, right? So this is a whole, no fractional part, no fractional part, no fractional part, and no fractional part. So these four are called as what? The integer data type. They fall under a category called what? Integral data type. Right? This integral data type is further classified according to the range, guys. Okay, first let me differentiate it. These are falling under which category? Integral category. They are called as integral data types, because one thing common that we have is all are representing one common thing. What is that common thing? They are what? They are whole numbers. They are completely integers, no fractional part. Okay, now now let us take this thing, this one and this one. Okay, no matter, no, if you look at the size, they are not even marginal. Okay, one is very small value, second one is, when you consider the fractional part, one is representing with high precision, one second one is representing with a low precision. But what is the common in both? They are representing the fractional part. After the decimal value, some fractional part is there, right? So I can say that this one, okay, as well as this one, they both have one thing in common. They both are representing what? They are both are representing a data type, which is what? If they both are representing the fractional number, right? Okay. So we call that was we call it as the floating point data. Making sense? Floating point data type. We will discuss about the range. Okay, so now we have understood what is integral data type. Second one is what is floating point data type, and we have left with two more things. Okay, this one, now look at this. It is representing a single character with single quotes, single character with single quotes. So it is called as what? Character data type. Character data type, right? And the last one we have left with what? Something like true, right? In Java, there is a special data type which is called as the Boolean data type. It can either store true or false. It can either store what? It can either store true or false. So this is called as what? Boolean data type. Okay, now we have come across four things, guys. We have come across four things in common. One is what? Integral. Second one is floating point. Okay. Third one is character, and the last one is what? Boolean. Isn't it? Boolean data type, right? And again, we can further classify this integer data type according to the range. According to the range, right? This integer data type is further classified into byte, short, int, long. I will tell you why there are some classifications like this. This integral data type can be classified into byte, short, integer, and long, depending upon the size. Okay, if the size is within this number, okay, if the size is within this number, you can go for byte data type. The size is between this number, you can go for what? Short data type. The size falls between these numbers, you can go for what? Integer data type. The size falls, if it is a big number, you can go for what? Long data type. Depends upon the signs, we choose the right data type. Okay, one thing common is all are what? All are representing the whole number. Likewise, floating point data type says if you have a number with low precision means the price of the petrol. Okay, only two floating point values after fractional part. Okay, you can go for what? Float data type. Okay, number with high precision. High precision means the fractional part up to 15 decimal values. Do not have to remember all this. Okay, just for the expression, up to 15 decimal values. Okay, you can go for what? You can go for double. You can call it as double. Okay, so under character you have only one data type that is representing the character, which is what? Char itself. Char. Okay, so under Boolean, okay, you have what? You have something like Boolean. Okay. Having said this, okay, now look at this example. Value is there, variable is there. Java says I want you to define the data type. Okay, for this value I can define a data type like byte. I can rewrite it like byte age equal to 79 semicolon. This is how Java will hold a value which has to get assigned to the variable name that is representing a particular data type. This is how the full-fledged data can be represented in Java. Okay, you may be getting some confusion. What is the confusion? See, now you see, look at the second point. What kind of value can be stored? You can store a number, you can store a character, you can store true or false. How much memory to allocate for the value and what operations are allowed on the value. Okay, So this Java data types are classified into two categories. One is primitive data type, second one is not primitive data types. So don't worry about this. This discussion will be there in the future topic. So you need to focus here. Don't focus this. Focus only on primitive. I have just explained you type of primitive data type. Okay, Java provides 8 primitive data types. I said now integer types for whole numbers, byte, short, integer, long. Floating point types for decimal numbers. I mean the number which has fractional part, float and double. Character type, okay, you can have only one, only one thing is a character. Boolean type, Boolean. Okay, now this is representing the size. This is representing the size. Byte, the size of the byte is what? 1 byte. The size of the short is 2 byte. The size of the int is 4 bytes. Likewise, you have the actual size. But for Boolean, there is no such sizes. But precisely, we can say that it holds 1 bit of data. 1 bit. Okay, this is representing what? This is representing a byte. 2 byte. 2 bytes. 4 bytes. 8 bytes. 4 bytes. 8 bytes. 2 bytes. Okay. 1 byte is called as what? 8 bits. The combination of 8 bits is going to make 1 byte. So you can do the calculation, right? If I say 1 byte equal to 8 bits, 2 bytes is how many bits? 16 bits. 4 bytes is how many bits? 32 bits. 8 bytes is how many bits? 64 bits. So by this we can calculate the range. Okay. So this is the formula to find the range. Formula. This is the formula. They say this is the formula, right? The n is representing number of bits. N is representing what? Number of bits. Okay. If I want to calculate the range for the byte, the question is if I want to calculate the range for byte data type, okay, what is the size of the byte? One byte. 1 byte. 1 byte is what? How many bits? 8 bits. Okay. So this n is number of bits, right? Replace, I mean, substitute n with number of bits, you will get the answer. Can someone tell me the answer? What would be the size of the byte? If I just substitute n with 8. What could be the range? Anyone, can you do the simple maths? Replace n with 8. Anyone? Ganesh, Lakshmi, Sindur, Sudhir, Pavane, Sunita, Balaji.
Minus 128 to 127.
Correct. Minus 128 to plus 127. Simple max, no? Why you are getting confused? Why there is a confusion here? Okay, 2 to the power of 8 minus 1 to 2 to the power of 8 minus 1 minus 1. 2 to the power of 8 minus 1 is what? 2 to the power of 7 to 2 to the power of 7 minus 1. So this is going to give what? 128 to 127. Okay. Are you getting it? Okay. So you can use this formula to find the range of byte, short, integer, long, and so on. I mean, for these four you can find the range, and for float and double there is no such concept of range. Okay, float and double, they always talk about the precision. This is going to have less precision, this is going to have more precision. There is no concept of size for float and double. For Boolean, Okay, you can either show true or false. That's why it is called, it is what, 1 bit, and this is representing the default value. Okay, for byte the default value is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.0, 0.0. For character it is space, and for boolean it is false. Right, let us write a simple program. Question is, we know what is a variable now. Okay, now we understood what is a variable. Okay, where we can declare a variable in a class. So suppose if I have a class here, yesterday I have said that, okay, you can have methods inside the class, and also you can have fields. Okay, fields, or you can also call it as variables, or you can also call it as attributes, or you can also call it as properties. Okay, these fields, variables, attributes, or properties are the data that you are going to represent. Okay, these are the data that you are going to represent. For example, let me take a simple example. I want to use the notepad. Okay. Let me say I have a class test. Okay. I just want to, represent the price of tea. I just want to represent the price of tea. So 10 rupees, and tea is going to cost 10 rupees or 12 rupees, whatever it is, 10 minutes. I'm assigning to the variable t itself, right? So this value is very small, right? This value is very small. It is ideal for me to, it is always recommended for me to use the small data type, right? I can use what? Small data type, which is byte. Okay, so this byte can hold this number because it is falling within the byte range. What is the range of the byte? Minus 128 to plus 127, right? So for me, it is always recommended to use the byte data type. It is not like I can use only byte. I can also use short data type. But short is going to consume what? 2 bytes of memory. Again, there is a memory wastage, right? So ideally, it is always recommended to use the data type that fits in, so that I can save the memory also. Byte will consume only 1 byte. It is recommended. Okay, so I'm representing this data type, byte t equal to 10. This is the data type, right? So inside this, I can have a method like, void m1. Okay, system dot out dot println. So let me say public here. So I'm saying what? I'm saying something like method 1. I just want to print this in the console. So I'm taking a name. Public main method. Public static void main string array box. Can someone tell me what I have to do to call this method? Can anyone tell me how I can call this method? What is the step that I need to take to call this method?
Object creation.
Good. We need to create an object, right? Test obj equal to new test. So this variable now it has visibility. It can see the methods that are there inside the test class. Right? So we know now obj dot, what is it? Obj dot m1. Okay, so this is the way that you can call this method, right? How I can call this? The variable. Same thing. What I can do, if I want to print the data that I have defined here, I want to print the value 10. Okay, what I can do, system dot out dot println. Okay, use the same reference variable name. Use the reference variable of an object and call the reference variable of the variable, I mean reference variable of the attribute or property or the data type, reference variable of this obj dot. Now the output will be what? The output will be method 1 and t. So my idea here is, with the help of this reference variable will get access to the methods that are there inside the class, as well as the variables that are data that is placed inside this class. Are you getting? Yes, no? There's something in the chat box. If you want me to repeat, I will repeat. Okay, whatever it is, be frank if you are getting it or not. Say yes or no. You want me to repeat? Are you all with me? Typing yes takes a lot of time. Huh? Okay, we will do this in the editor. Okay, we will get the clear picture. And since it is a notepad, it's not making sense. Let me give you something what is actually happening behind the scenes. Okay, this thing will be what is actually happening behind the scenes that we will understand in the notepad. Eclipse is getting opening. Okay, so let us trace this, guys. Let us trace what is actually happening behind the scenes. Stay focused here. This is our code, right? This is our code. See, anyway, we are going to use Eclipse. Eclipse will take care of storing this with the .java extension. The file name will be same as the class name .java, right? And Eclipse will automatically, without your consent, Eclipse is going to automatically activate what? Activate the compiler. After the activation, right? It will consume. It will, it will take this .java file, and it will check each and every line. It will check each and every line. Every syntax will be checked, and if it is satisfied, it will generate what? It will convert the .java file to .class file. Just .class file, right? This is the, it consumes .java file. It gives .class file. It produces .class file. Okay. The moment you start clicking the what is that? The play button, right? So you have something like the run button, something there in the Eclipse. Okay, you would see this when we start using apps. Run button will be there. The moment you start hitting this run button, okay, then the JVM comes into the picture. Okay, then the JVM will come into the picture. Okay. As soon as you start hitting the run button, JVM will consume this test.class file. Okay, and it will generate the main thread. A thread which will always try to find what? It will always try to find the main method. Main method, test.class main method. Okay, so the moment it starts finding the main method, all the instructions, it has a job to execute all the instructions inside the main method. Okay, but there are only 3 instructions, right? First instruction is object creation. Okay, now you focus here. Okay, there is something called new keyword, right? New means new memory. Remember, new means what? A new memory. A new memory will be created. In the sense, behind the scenes. Okay, this will happen in the computer RAM. We don't visualize these things, but we need to imagine these things. Okay, a memory will be created, right? This memory will get a name. What is that name? Memory will get a name, which is what? Obj. The name that you are giving here, the name that you have given here, right? Then, okay. So in the memory level, something has happened in the memory level because of this instruction. This is what happened behind the scenes. And also, the beauty of the object creation is that it will copy. It will copy what? It will copy the data that you have placed inside the class. That is the beauty of the object. What is the data that you have placed inside the class? T is the data. I mean, the value 10 is getting assigned to the variable, T itself. This is the data. This data will be copied inside this memory. That is the beauty of creating an object. This data will be copied. Okay, in another area, one more area will be there. This area is called as method area. This is going to memorize the methods. This is going to visualize the method. What is the name of the method that you have? How many methods are there? Only one. Apart from main method, only one method is there. This is going to store methods m1. Okay, so this object has access to variable, it has access to the method will be stored in a different area and the data will be stored in a different area, right? This one line is doing this many things, this one line is doing these many things in the memory level. What is the next line? You're calling obj.m1, obj.m1, this is the next line. Okay, this is the obj. Okay, it has access to the method m1. Okay, m1 method, it will transfer the control to the method m1. This instruction will get executed. This is how the control is getting transferred, right? So output is going to be what? Method m1 will be in the console. Method 1 will be in the console. That is what the instruction says, right? Print method 1 in the console, right? Now what is the next thing? You come back to the same place, and next thing is obj.t. You are saying what? You want to access the value of the t variable, obj.t. This is obj. Dot t is what? This is t. You are just placing a dot in between, which means when you say obj.t, the value will be retrieved and that will be printed on the console. What did I just say? If you create an object, behind the scenes, memory gets allocated because of the new keyword, memory gets allocated. Okay, this is going to copy the properties or variables or data, whatever it is going to store that information. Okay, and one more area will be there, that is identified as the method area, that is going to store the method names. That's it. Object creation is doing so many things behind the memory. Then you can keep calling. Use this reference variable as an identity. If you want, you can call the method, or if you want, you can call the variable. Information will be retrieved, the control will be transferred to that respective method. If you want to transfer the control to the method, the control will be transferred to the respective variable if you want to get access to that value. Making sense, everyone? Yes, no? Are we finding it any difficult here? Simple layout. This is a very, very simple layout. Okay, I will increase the complexity. If you say yes only, I can proceed further. Everyone type now. Okay. Now let us do something. Okay, so we have the editor open, right? Now we have the editor. Let me remove this. Already we have the first Java program now. Okay, so let me remove these two. Okay, I will keep only one method. Let me remove these two. I will take it as a private. I'm taking the method name as make it t. Okay, so name of the method is making it. Of course, it is not making any sense. Okay, just we are trying to understand the control flow. Is made. I have a method. The name of the method is making t. This is the user defined method. I'm taking a data. Okay, so I'm saying byte tea powder equal to, let us say, okay, 50 rupees, 50. Okay, then byte milk packet. Okay, and this is also follows the camel case naming convention. This variable name will also follow the camel case naming convention. I'm not sure how much price is the milk packet. I'm taking it as 40. And again, I'm taking byte. Okay, this two information is necessary. This okay. This two information is okay. Now what I'm trying to do is, I'm creating an object. First Java program. F equal to new first Java program. Right? Now remember one thing. How many variables? If I ask you how many variables we have, don't get any confused. This is a variable and this is a variable. And again, if I ask you how many properties we have, don't get confused. This is a property, this is another property. Okay? These are called as variables these are also called as properties, and these are also called as attributes. Okay, when you declare a variable, property, or attribute outside the class, I mean outside the method, but inside the class. Let me repeat. When you declare any variable outside a method but inside a class, okay, these variables are called as what? Class level variables. Right? This is a class level variable. This is a class level variable. Likewise, when you declare a variable inside a method, for example, byte are equal to, this variable is called as what? This variable is called as local variable. Making sense? When the variable is placed outside the method but inside the class, they are called as class level variables. When the variable is just inside the method, they are called as what? Local variables. Making sense? Right? Now see what is happening. Let me change this. Added ginger, which costs. Okay, now you see object is created. Okay, we have the reference variable f. This f reference variable has control over the making t method, and it has also control over the what? Control over the variables, right? So I can just use what? I can just use f dot making t, right? If I run this code, making t method gets executed. Added ginger, which cost me 100. Right? So this ginger is holding a value 100. Ginger is holding a value 100. So now we need to understand what is the difference between the local variable and the class level variable. So this is the better example. Before that, let me also show you. If I want to access the values of the class level variable, simply I can use the reference variable here, f dot t powder plus uh, f dot milk packet. I can say something like this: the production cost. Okay, let me run this. The production. See, I should give it in brackets. 1 minute. Production cost is 90. Average cost. Okay, let us trace this together. Now we will understand the difference between the local variable and the class level variable, how the memory is getting allocated. Okay, quickly do this. Since we are using the compiler, okay, the file name is going to be first program, first Java program dot Java. Okay, and automatically Eclipse will involve the compiler, and the compiler will perform the code checks if there is any errors or not. Will consume the first program.java file, okay, and it will produce what? It will produce the dot class file. Produce the dot class file. Okay, the moment you click on the run button, JVM will come into the picture. Once you click on the run button, JVM will come into the picture. The JVM will produce the main thread. Main thread will eventually try to get access to the main method. Okay. Here it clearly says object is new keyword. Just focus on this new keyword. New keyword will create a memory. It will create a memory. A space will be created in the RAM. What is a reference variable? F is a reference variable. Okay. As soon as this is happening, parallelly, we'll check is there any class level variables. How many class level variables are there? Only two class level variables. Only for the class level variables, okay, the values will be copied and placed here. Let's say tea powder equal to what is the value that you have taken 50, only for the class level variables, not for the local variables. Milk packet equal to 40, right? And also a method area is going to focus on storing the method names, which is what making tea. Okay, this making tea method internally it has what? It has one variable. The local variable will be stored here. Local variable will be stored inside the method itself. It will not get to exposed to the outside world. The what we call the data of the local variable will be there inside the method itself. It will not be exposed to the outside world. It is strictly limited to the method itself. A class level variable will be exposed in the object, but the local variable will be contained in the method itself. It will not get exposed to the outside world. Okay. Now, by using this reference variable, you can call the method making tea. This making tea has some certain logic inside, isn't it, right? Okay. First thing is what ginger equal to 100 within the method itself. Okay. And you are just using the name ginger over here, which means this is going to give you the value. You are storing a value 100 that will be printed here. This ginger will be replaced with the value, right? And after this, the next one is you are taking tea production cost f dot tea powder. Okay, this is f, this is tea powder, variable name tea powder, which is 50. Okay, it is getting evaluated, right? 50 plus 40. It is get evaluated to 90. It is getting concatenated with this particular string. Tea production cost 90. So this is a clear difference. Okay, local variables are not exposed to the outside world. Only class level variables are stored inside the object. Local variables are contained within the method itself. This is contained within the method itself. And this is all about the class level variables and the local variables, right? We will do more actions. See, okay. For example, if I want to store age of the person cannot cross more than 120 as per the average age of human being is 70 to 75 now. So not even 70, 60. Let us say maximum you can age can be, if they are very much lucky, they can cross 120 years. So let us say the age is 70. I'm using the by data type because we know that age cannot exceed more than 120. Okay. Next one is we have what for the short days, number of days in a year 365. So this is the ideal data type because you can save memory. Is falling within this short range, you can save some memory. You can go for the higher data type, but if you go for int, still it is valid. But the problem here is int consumes 4 byte of memory, whereas short consumes only 2 byte of memory. Remove this. And you have what? You have integer. For integer, okay, pin code. I can store the pin code 600049. Right? And for long, you can store any big number, right? Let me say GDP of a country. One thing, if you want to represent a value, if you want to assign a data type, if you want to assign a data type long to a particular value, you need to suffix that with L. You need to suffix that with what? You need to suffix that with L. Right? Then next we have what? Next we have float data type. Float means petrol price. Petrol price 100.70. You need to suffix it with f. For the float data type, if you have any fractional part, okay, and you need to suffix that with f. This is the root. Next you have double. It is also to represent what? To represent a fractional value with I precision. Fractional value with I. So we can use pi, right? Pi value 3.1477. It keeps on going now. Keeps on going. I'm not sure what are the remaining values. 3.147. It keeps on going. Not sure. You can use this. Byte short, okay, for boolean. Any variable name check. You can store true or false. It will be in lowercase. For character, let's say initial. You can store any single character. See? So these are the 8 data types. So this is how you can use. Okay, these data types are there inside what? These are there inside the class but outside the method. So these are called as what? The class level variables. And you can also learn about string. String is what? Sequence of character. If you want to represent a name, a class name, Java. If you want to represent a sequence of character, you can represent string. So this string is not part of primitive data types. This is part of non-primitive data types. In that class, you can understand this. But it's okay to introduce the string data type for now. But it is falling inside a different category. Is falling inside what? Non-primitive data types, right? Okay, let us do a small exercise. Put it in
ఏమైంది స్వామి సిస్టర్కి
Sunita, go on mute. Mute. Okay. Okay, syntax. This is a syntax. And even the variable as the access modifier, you can represent it public, private, protected. We will see that. Now let us modify a small change to a Java method. Okay. Till yesterday, our method declaration was like this. Let me remove all this. Our method declaration was like public void. Let me say I want to add two numbers. Okay. Let me say that my name of the method is addition method. So here you have parameters, right? Till yesterday we are keeping it as an optional. Right? If you want to add two numbers, I can take two variables. I can build my method which is consuming two variables inside the parameter or two data types inside this parameter, two numbers inside this parameter. When I say two numbers, any two integer numbers, integer a, integer b. This a is identity of the this a is the variable name of the number that is going to consume. This b is the variable name of the number that this method is going to consume. So this method is designed in such a way that this method is going to consume two numbers. Which numbers that is going, which data type that is going to consume is declared here. Integer a, integer b. Which means this method is going to consume two numbers. If you want to execute this, you need to pass two numbers. Okay. What is the logic that I am writing here? System.out.println. Okay, I just want to write a plus b. Okay, whatever the number I pass, I want to perform the addition. I want to perform the subtraction. I want to perform the multiplication. I want to perform what? I want to perform the division. Okay, a very beautiful method. This time we are including the parameters. This time we are just including what? Parameters, right? How I'm supposed to call this method? We know object creation, right? So first Java program f equal to new post Java program. Object is created. Okay, what I was telling you, when you declare any variable outside the method inside the class, they are class level variables. When you declare any variable inside the method, they are called as local variables. When you declare variables inside the parameters, they are also called as what? The local variables. These are also called as local variables. But values are not there. Only variable name is a value. How this method supposed to get values? It is our duty to pass the values at the time of calling this method. How do we usually call the method? Reference variable. Yeah. Dot. What is the name of the method? Addition method. Okay. This time, this addition method is a very specialized method which is accepting two values of integer data type. You need to pass any two values separated by comma. Why separated by comma? Here you are separating it by comma. You have to pass something like 100. Any two values I am passing. Okay. This 100 will be assigned to A variable. This 10 will be assigned to B variable according to the order. Okay. Now A becomes 100, B becomes 10. Okay. It performs what? Calculation. So it gets substituted as per the logic that we have written. 100 plus 10 becomes 110. Okay. 100 minus 10 becomes 90. Right. 100 into 10 becomes what? 1000. Right. 100 divided by 10 becomes what? 10. Run this code. Get this. 110, 90, 1000. These are also called as local variables. You are just declaring it. The actual it is going to consume. Okay, you are just passing the values here. It's like assigning this 100 to A variable, assigning this 10 to B variable according to the order. Right? A simple method which is performing all the four mathematical operations as per the logic that you have built. Right? I have just introduced this parameters concept. This parameters concept yesterday it was optional. Now I have introduced it. You can keep any number of arguments here. This will be treated as what? Local variables. Making sense? Yes, no? Understood about parameters? Just do a small manipulation here. Okay, so let us say that our this method is meant to display the welcome message. Name of the method is welcome message. This is accepting a string. String is what? Sequence of characters. Okay, you can give any name here. Okay, let me give the name itself. Okay, what I'm trying to do here is remove this. Okay. System.out.println. Whatever the name that you enter any name. I need to display in a good fashion. Okay, so I want to welcome. Some logic I have written here. Okay, my welcome message is a method name which is accepting a string, a sequence of characters. Okay, you can pass any name by using this reference variable here. Dot. Okay, I call the welcome message method. Okay, inside this method, I will say something like Sudhir. Sudhir is it's a value which gets assigned to this variable. Okay, run this method. Hey Sudhir, welcome to Selenium course. If I do something like Lakshmi, hey Lakshmi, welcome to Selenium. So it is a kind of the method will accept something in the parameters which can be used to do some manipulations on a particular business logic. Whatever the name that you give Balaji, Balaji. Since his Balaji is getting assigned to name, Wherever the name variable is there, that will be replaced by Balaji and the actual message will be displayed. Making sense? Yes, no? Right?